the state. And I worked real hard to reach out to the African-American community and get them to vote Republican. And quite frankly, the people that I spoke with that are older in that area, flat out didn't want to hear the message. They said that Republicans don't care about them. But when you talk to the younger people, the younger blacks that are starting off, that are just now getting into businesses, working and starting a family, they were all receptive. And they all wanted to listen to the GOP message and what we had to say. And I really think that if we target those people, we have a chance to get them to vote Republican. And it's going to be important in the future as the Democrats continue to divide the minority factions against the Republican Party. And I think the black community is one that we can really reach out to and try to get, and I hope that Jesse and everybody else has great success in doing so. With respect to CD3, you know, Alan, I don't understand what you want us to do. I and Michelle and Andy Matthews all met. We talked, and we all sat down, and I explained why I thought I was the best candidate to run against Roberson. They said why they did, and Andy actually, me and Andy made a pact, and we said if either one of us was not polling well at the time of the filing in March or not raising enough money by that time, we would not file. And I would hope that he would stand by that, as I would. Michelle has said that she wasn't going to run unless she had $700,000 guaranteed to her and she saw the money. And I saw on Saturday she said she's running. I said, where's the $700,000? And she just smiled at me. The thing is, look, if everybody feels they're a better candidate than they probably are, they all feel they have a better chance, they do. I hope that I'm right this time. I'm certainly leading, I'm leading all the polls. The one poll that came out had me 37%, Roberson 11, and Andy at 4. I think that gives me a great leg up. The first reporting period came out. I know that most of you don't like to talk about money, but money is a big proponent of winning races, and Roberson only raised $25,000 more than I raised in the primary, which is almost unheard of because he had the governor calling for him. Well, thank you. And I will tell you, some of you guys here contributing to my campaign, I really appreciate it. Not only that, Dean Heller gave Roberson $10,000. Dean Heller, from his PAC that he was raising money to get Republican senators elected, he gave $10,000 to Roberson. Hutchinson gave $2,700 from his law firm. So, you know, he had all the establishment money come in, and he only has a $25,000 lead. He's hired the most expensive consultants, and I'm a cheap Armenian, or frugal Armenian. How's that? I'm not wasting my money, so I think that we'll be in good shape that way. I like where we're at. You know, I have the best campaign partner you can possibly have in my wife, who's out working hard for me to get elected. She was at the event Alan was at earlier today. And I got a good staff of people. I've got a number of volunteers that are helping me. I just don't understand why I would think about getting out of the race if I'm beating Roberson 3-1 in the polls. Well, actually, if you talk about Andy, I'm beating Andy 11-1 in the polls, 3-1 in fundraising, and have the infrastructure in place. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to stay in the race. That's not going to happen. If the other ones want to get out, I certainly would help them in any race they want to get into. And I told that to Andy. It is important, and I'm going to finish this because I don't want to take too long, but I'm going to finish this. I think, and again, I'm a little biased, but I believe this race is really the turning stone or the cornerstone of what happens to the Republican Party here in the state of Nevada. If the Republican Party elects Michael Roberson to be the nominee in the Congressional District 3, we are basically saying, because this is Michael Roberson, moved to the state a few years ago, promised not to raise taxes, go back to Carson City and not only vote for the largest tax increase in state's history that was voted down by 80% of the public in the last election, but he voted 100% of the time for every single tax bill that came before in the last legislative session. That in itself should disqualify him, but you don't even talk about the rest of things with them. He refused, as a majority leader, he refused to put on the ballot a vote for photo ID requirement at the polls, which is dear to most of us in the Republican Party. He refused to put on the ballot the parental notification on the ballot. He refused to allow a vote in the Senate on parental notification, which most of us feel is very important. He refused to make one single cut to the spending budget. He promised to get rid of prevailing wages, and they did, and then the last day of the legislative session, he put it back in because the Democrats threatened not to sign the largest tax increase if he did. So Roberson, I mean, I'm sure Donald Trump would be laughing head over heels over Roberson's negotiating skills. Roberson gave in to a Democrat demand to put in prevailing wages because he was worried the Democrats wouldn't vote for the highest tax increase in state's history. How ridiculous is that? Is that the kind of guy that you want represent you back in Washington, D.C.? He didn't do one thing to revise the PERS system, the public employee retirement system, which is going to bankrupt the state like it's bankrupt in California. And he didn't do one thing to revise collective bargaining, even though we had a Republican Assembly, Senate, and governor's office for the first time in 89 years. Worse than that, he's just a bad person. And I ran in a lot of elections. I ran in a lot of elections against some other Republicans. You never heard me talk that way about it. I got great respect for Barbara Sagaski, Swartz from the last race, Sue Loudon. I just don't have any respect for a guy that basically carpetbags his way into Nevada, lies to the voters, and then anytime somebody challenges him about what he does, he yells at him or berates him like he did Dan Schwartz on the Senate floor when he questioned him about the tax increase. If we give him a promotion from what he did now, he's got a lot of his little fellow minions in the state Senate that follow everything he does. What kind of sign is that going to give to all those people? They're going to say, hey, look, Roberson got a promotion by acting this way. I'm going to act the same way. Our party's in a world of trouble if we don't stop them. I believe I have the best opportunity to do so. And in fact, I believe I'm going to win this race going away. I really do, or I wouldn't be in it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. I'll continue to see you guys throughout the campaign. And, listen, hopefully we'll get closer to January, we're going to start going out and doing voter contacts. Some of you might be willing to come and help volunteer in the campaign. We'd love to have your help. Thank you very much.